Well, good evening, beautiful jazz musicians of University Prep, and welcome to another edition of tonight's Vinyl Delights. Happy Saturday to you. Hope you're enjoying your weekend around here. There's been lots of music today, as there usually is. I was doing some recording on some projects that I'm working on with some friends, kind of like what we're trying to do in class. We're sending recordings back and forth and layering things in on top. So I've got, I think, 3 or 4 projects that I'm in the middle of right now. So I did a bunch of playing today and a bunch of listening. And I was listening to some Benny Golson today and decided that it was time to feature Benny on tonight's Vinyl Delights. So tonight I have for you Gone with Golson. This, I believe, was recorded in 1959, if I'm not mistaken, on the New Jazz label, Prestige New Jazz label, featuring an incredible band that he was working with at the time. Curtis Fuller on the trombone, Ray Bryant on piano, his brother Tommy Bryant on the bass, and Al Harewood on the drums. Benny Golson's a tenor saxophone player, by the way. Most of you probably know that. I think you probably heard this song that I'm playing right now. It's called Staccato Swing. I featured this in class a couple of times, I think, and there was a minute where one of the combos was going to play it, and I don't know whatever happened to that. We need to get back to that, because I love this song so much. This was written by the piano player Ray Bryant, and this is a cat that doesn't get talked about that much, but when you start turning records over and looking at who's on piano, you will find Ray Bryant's name on tons of your favorite records. That's an indication that perhaps you should check this dude out, right? This was the record that really turned me on to Ray Bryant. I had heard his name. I know I have tons of records that he's on, but I didn't really pay that much attention to him until I heard this solo that he's playing right now. And I want you to pay particular attention to this solo when you listen to the song, because for my money, this is one of the most logical solos. Like, you can hear his thought process as he goes. And what I mean by that is every phrase that he plays seems to follow the last phrase just perfectly logically. And when you listen to the solo, it just sounds like, oh yeah, right, this is what was supposed to be played. But it's so hard to do that. You know that, right? It's so hard to make it sound like those were the inevitable note choices, right? But I feel like that's what Ray Bryant has achieved on this solo. And just so many beautiful ideas that just cascade one after the other and feed into the next, and he's referencing back. It's just a beautiful solo all the way around. So do put your focus on Ray Bryant when he's soloing, because it's really something to behold. Of course, Benny Golson and Curtis Fuller play fantastic solos on here as well. Benny's solo, which just started, he is a master at starting a solo, you know, kind of nice and mellow. He's not playing too high, he's not playing too fast, he's not playing too gruff. But as he gets into it, he really ramps it up. Like, he really was an architect. And I think a big part of that is because he was such a great composer. Benny Golson composed some of the most memorable songs we know. Stablemates, I Remember Clifford, Whisper Not. There's so many jazz standards in the real books that you'll see Benny's name on. And, you know, we've talked about in the past that improvisation is nothing but composition sped up, like it's composition in real time, right? What we're doing is we're trying to compose melodies. And so the fact that he's such a great composer, I think, really helps him as an improviser. And I think that we could all, myself included, spend more time composing, and I think it would help us as players and improvisers. And Benny Golson is a perfect representation of that. Curtis Fuller, awesome trombone player, my favorite trombone player, one of my favorite improvisers. Just a fantastic sense of the horn and the language and the style. His articulation is incredible. You don't hear the slide when he plays, you just hear notes. It's really something else to behold. So I hope you'll check this out. You'll notice there's a autograph on there. That's actually Benny Golson's autograph. He came to Jazz Alley last year. I think he's 80. I don't remember. He's in his 80s. He's an old man, but he's still doing it. And he came to Jazz Alley last year, and some record collecting friends of mine and I went to the show together, and we got the chance to go backstage and meet Benny and talk with him a little bit after the show. It was super cool. He's just an amazingly beautiful, warm, kind, gracious human being. I just being in his presence felt like I just felt it to my core. And he was so nice. He talked to us. He talked to us about the albums. He was really psyched. We all brought records for him to sign, and so he was super psyched to see the old records. I got a chance. I asked him about Curtis Fuller. I said, hey, you know, do you ever hear from Curtis anymore? And he kind of teared up, and he told me that Curtis is in a nursing home in Detroit, which is where he was born and grew up, and he's been in the nursing home for a while now. So all good thoughts to Clifford. I'm sorry, to Curtis Fuller at this time. And we hope Benny will continue to play and continue to write and continue to tour, and hopefully he'll come back to Seattle, and maybe we can all go see him together, because you would love it. He puts on an amazing show. He knows every bit of the history of jazz. He started out playing with Dizzy Gillespie. He's played with everybody in the world, and he tells so many great stories as he plays, so it's a beautiful thing. So that being said, go check out Gone with Golson. I'll put Staccato Swing in the comments. As you might be hearing in the background here, they just transitioned to a really great arrangement of Autumn Leaves that you should check out as well. So this is Gone with Golson, tonight's Vinyl Delights. I hope you dig it as much as I do. This is really one of my favorite records of all time. I think if you made me pick my Desert Island discs, this probably make the list. All right, thank you so much for listening tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Go listen to Benny Golson. Go do it. You won't be sorry. All right. Have a great rest of the weekend. Catch you tomorrow on tonight's Vinyl Delights.